And first of all, we recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Nice to see a crowd this morning, and if you see anything unusual, we're wearing colorful shirts. And the reason for that is it's the first week in spring, and this is our first meeting in spring. So we thought we'd celebrate. Who doesn't get excited about spring? So that's the reason. First, we need to consider the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Got a first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Consider the minutes of the March 10th, 2026 regular meeting.
So moved. Second.
Yeah, got a first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Any citizen wishing to make statements during the discussion of any item must first be recognized by the commission chair. After being recognized, that person should state their name and the name of any organization represented. Statements should be limited to 5 minutes. Please silence all phones and electronic devices. Recording meeting is allowed, and the commission requests that anyone using special recording equipment to be seated in the back row to avoid creating a distraction during the meeting. We'll move on to old business, and there is no old business at this time, so we'll move on. Approval of appropriations, and we have Ms. Meidler, our county clerk, will present details.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
This morning we have the regular accounts payable register for the period of March 10th, 2026, ending March 24th, 2026, and just ask for approval.
Okay, any discussion on this? I see no discussion. Ready for a motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I move to approve appropriations for the period of March 10th, 2026 to March 24th, 2026, and authorize the chairman to sign on behalf of the commission.
I get a second.
I'll second that.
First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Moving on to new business. County Clerk's Office request approval.
Morning again. This is our batch 5 of AAEs presented to our office by the appraiser's office. And they were mostly payment under protest hearings, adjustments made from that. 47 records and total taxes of $30,359.28. Just ask for approval.
Okay, and do we have discussion on this? Yeah, no discussion. Okay, I'm ready for a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
to approve the listing of added, abated, escaped, and refunded taxes as reviewed by the county appraiser and presented by the county clerk's office. Direct the chairman to sign on behalf of the commission.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, next we have another resolution, and Ms. Smiler again will present details.
Yes, at least every 3 years, the commission needs to review the districting to assure that each of the 5 districts is as compact and equal in population as possible. So at this time, since there are no new census numbers to go by, I suggest that the commission districts remain the same. They were currently as compact and equal in population as we could get. As for adoption of the resolution would keep me the same.
Okay. Have any discussion on this?
Mr. Chair, I think especially since it's election year, it's good to leave them as they are and people are familiar with them and maybe revisit it when we get better numbers down the road.
I agree with that.
And Mr. Chair,
Yes.
this might be a question that Commissioner Zimmerman or Bev Smiler might have an answer. I actually got a call on this, and I really hadn't thought about the question, but it makes sense. Had a gentleman ask me, how come these aren't voted on? I mean, I know that the public couldn't draw the area and everything. They don't have the information. They said, once the area is drawn, since we vote on you guys, how come we don't get a chance to vote on whether the area is good? It's like, well, that is something that I will ask. I honestly do not know.
It's a statute that determines the formula and the way that it's set up. I don't know that, it's a good question. I don't know that we vote on city precincts and wards, or I've never noticed anybody ever voting on
And
those.
he mentioned that too. He said, not just you guys. He goes, it's not that I don't like the area.
Yeah.
He thought that since they were voting on us and city council and things like that, that maybe they should have a chance of, well, Maybe it's something that.
We only vote on the number of them, but not, yeah, how to divide them up.
But it would be up to legislation to make that change, wouldn't it, statute?
Because I know, a couple of years ago, a few years ago, when the city of Great Bend changed their ward lines, that is a statute that the city does that.
Okay,
We don't have a say
I'll
as the election office to do that, so.
let them know and
Gonna
be
be-
something to discuss with legislation if somebody really wanted to see a change with that.
Really want to go by population. Really, I think Ms. Smiler looks at that pretty closely. I'm not for sure how else we could change it
Yeah.
to make it fair, I guess.
Well, because the districts have to be contiguous and try to get them as compact and equal, so with the census numbers, that's as close as we could get.
Pretty
What we
limited.
have now.
Yeah.
I think he was in my area. Maybe he wanted out. I don't know.
No.
Thank you.
Are you ready for a motion?
Yes, I am.
I move to adopt resolution 2026-07, establishing commission districts for Barton County, Kansas, and rescinding resolution 2023-15, same adopted May 17, 2023.
Second that.
First, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, next we have a letter of support for the purchase of a Colt revolver used by the sheriff. The first sheriff in Barton County, I guess, George Moses. And then.
Good morning.
Anna is going to.
Yeah, Brian wasn't able to be here today. He had an appointment he couldn't cancel. He talked to you guys in February about bringing the Colt back to Barton County. And he's requested that you provide a letter of support that we've provided to you. When we moved out of the courthouse, Commissioner Zimmerman had an amazing idea to bring the original courthouse doors back and create a display out in the lobby. And this would just be an incredible centerpiece to add to that. So if you have any questions, I guess I should add, he does want to purchase the gun with private funds, so we wouldn't use county monies to do that. And the display in the county would be just to work to promote our officials and our employees and what we do. So it would just be celebrating our history only.
I believe the sheriff, he spent lots of hours investigating, trying to
He's
find this.
really excited about it.
You bet. Yes. go
Well,
ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think that the sheriff has quite the museum over there in the sheriff's office that
Yes, he does.
he wants to share with the public, wants everyone to be able to see. And it's hard to get the public in the backside of the sheriff's office. So
Right.
bringing it to the rotunda would allow more people to be able to see all that neat stuff he has.
Well, and we have a bust from one of the ladies on the third floor that we could put in there. We have possibly weights from the clerk's office. We have a surveying tool from the county engineer's office. So we're building a bit of a collection, so we could really show off what we've been doing for the last few hundred years or couple hundred years.
Well, tell us a little bit about those doors. I think that's kind of.
I don't really know much about them. I know Road and Bridge went and picked them up. They are really heavy and they're sitting over in another office right now till we can figure out how to put them up safely.
Good.
So yeah, when we left here and started looking at our history, we kind of figured out that even as long as Dawn and I have been here, you eventually just kind of forget and you kind of lose that. So this is another way of us keeping a hold of that.
I'm so excited about this project. I know when we did the HVAC and, some of the things on the third floor were exposed, and it's a shame that everybody can't see that. I think it'll be exciting to have a piece of that displayed and whatever. And, and possibly these are items that could rotate in and out, as we have a few things on display and then rotate something else in. But I think it'd be an amazing opportunity to showcase what we're about.
Right, and I have to commend Commissioner Zimmerman, was the one that instigated this. And when she first started talking about these doors, I'm like,
What's so special about these?
yeah, exactly, yeah. And so I don't remember them, but evidently they're pretty unique and I haven't seen them yet, but I'm anxious to look at them.
I hear they need cleaned up a bit.
I'm sure. So thank you for getting this started. And I think it's served the public for many years.
I concur in that. I think it's, the sheriff has a lot of neat things over at his office, and this is a way to just get a little bit of it out where the public can see it, because it's very difficult to see what he has at his office. So it's neat to put something out there that everyone can see.
Well, he's got a story about behind most of
Yes.
everything in there. And it's really interesting.
If he ever retires, maybe he'll be a tour guide for the rotunda. If he's listening, maybe he'll start considering that.
That, that, he
We
did
know
a
we
good
have
job.
jobs sleeping in the courthouse. I don't know if we want to do that.
I don't know that we've talked to Ms. Smidler yet about the weights, but didn't know if maybe she'd let them rotate down for a little while and be on display. There's a set of weights upstairs in the clerk's office, and if you're not up there, you don't necessarily see them. But years and years ago, the county clerk had to put them in the back of a horse-drawn wagon and would go around to the different markets, and she would be the one, or he would be the one that would make sure that their scales were weighing accurately. So it's really kind of a cool piece of history, and
They're really pretty.
yeah, they are.
And those are all things we noted in the letter, so that the gun's current owner would know, we're serious about this. This is important to us.
But it's interesting you talk about weights. I didn't realize the county had the weights, but everything you buy is scaled. And I did some investigation, that's been several years ago, about, like the Big Ben for the clock. Well, there's also a standard for a world standard of weights also, because you think about there has to be. And then each state has one. I don't know where the state is. I suppose it's in Topeka. And you have to have some place that the original weights, otherwise just a tiny fraction would be off.
Yeah.
And all the way down the line, it could be off, because everything we do in the grocery store goes by weight. Everything you can think of goes by weight.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting, really, until you really think about it and talk about it.
I'm kind of glad I didn't have to do that when I was clerk, but somebody did.
Yeah. So,
Just as a plug for Barton County Community College, they have a scale tech program, and you can go out there and learn to be a scale technician. And it's quite a program, and you come out with quite extensive experience to work for like the state of Kansas or a scale tech company. So it's interesting. That would appeal to you.
weights are very important.
And Mr. Chair?
Yes.
The doors are, actually belong to the Historical Society now, but they are willing to loan them to us. And they mentioned, Commissioner Hutchinson and I got a chance to go out and see them. They're impressive heavy, right? The guys that had to move them, but I think they could clean up really well. And they mentioned they would potentially consider rotating other things, because more people come through our doors and have a chance to go down there. And so that would be kind of neat to display different things, such as what's over at the sheriff's office, what's here, and maybe look at working with them, partnering with them more, and bringing a few other courthouse items in from time to time.
They had some stuff over there, didn't they?
Sure did a lot of courthouse stuff. It was interesting to see the old type, not just the typewriters, but just the different machines and different things that they had in the treasurer's office, some storage containers and things like that were interesting.
Like a dictaphone.
Yeah.
We were talking.
Mhm. Yes, Commissioners Zimmerman, Commissioner Hutchinson said, I wonder if Donna used that.
Oh, yeah.
I do not recall.
And
the answer may be.
down there by him. Yeah.
Okay, any more discussion on this? Could I get a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I move to approve the letter of support for the purchase of the Civil War era Colt revolver used by Sheriff George Id Moses, the first Barton County Sheriff.
Thank you.
Second.
No, sorry.
Okay. All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you, Diana.
Thank you, Diana. Okay, next we have another letter of support, and this is for grant funding infrastructure for Washington. And Mr. Poffner will give us details.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
So the city of Hoisington is seeking grant funding for an infrastructure enhancement on 15th Street between Clay and Susank Road. The city believes that the improvement will promote safety, increase its appeal to potential home buyers, and promote community development. We have a letter of support that we sent out that we ask you to consider approval of. This would add to the amount of money that we pledged to the project back in October of last year for the curb and guttering. So this would just kind of add on to that project. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
This would be a good connection
Mhm.
to that part. And also there's an area there that will be some more housing developments.
Yeah, possibly could kind of set the stage for future expansion.
Correct. Yeah, I believe it is pretty important. Okay, any discussion on this?
It's a great idea. Letter of supports always help with grant submissions, so.
Correct.
Anything that we can do to grow our community. I think that's excellent idea.
Okay. Okay, let's get ready for a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I would move to approve the letter of support for grant funding for infrastructure enhancements on 15th Street in city of Hoisington, Kansas.
I'll second that.
First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Communications, 911 board critical facility mapping, and we have just, Pop. Give us details.
Morning, Commissioners. Back in July, the 911 centers across Kansas received an email from the state 911 board, as it just transitioned into the state board, about the Kansas legislator set aside $1 million for a school mapping grant project. That email said that the state 911 board was pleased to announce the opening of the Critical Facility Mapping Grant Program. That program provides funding to PSAPs, which is a public safety answering point, for standardized indoor and outdoor GIS mapping of critical facilities to support emergency response planning and 911 integration. It was at that time, or within a short period of time after that, that we were able to go in and start filling out the grant, which was a very simple one-page fill in the blank type of grant, not your typical grant, and save it until the point where we were able to actually submit once they allowed the submissions. I did that. That grant is an application for K through 12 schools in Barton County to do indoor outdoor mapping. I then held a meeting with all of the K through 12 schools. There were 18 of them here in Barton County. We did it in person, or they could join via Teams. It was in November that I received that email that we were pleased to announce that we had been selected to receive the first round award through the State 911 Board Critical Facility Mapping Grant Program. In that initial round, each PSAP was awarded 4 K through 12 schools. In our meetings with the schools, we had to set an order in which we thought that school should receive those. We stuck with the high schools initially with the thought process of could be more problematic areas with the older students. A lot of active shooter stuff ended up in high schools or colleges. So we went with the 4 high schools initially, and then they came back around and said that it had not been, not all of the money had been utilized to go ahead and submit the next steps in your process. We ended up getting all 18 schools approved in Barton County. Since that time, we had to choose a vendor. The state had narrowed it down to 3. We got to choose which one of those 3 we wanted as a board. The one we chose was one that it stuck out to us, but it also is one that is used by surrounding counties. That was important to me because if we have to assist any other county with such incident, the mapping is the same for multi-counties around us. So it's not that you have to learn a new format of the mapping. It was important, and it just kind of made them stick out to us. So I know there are several counties, quite a few counties around the state that chose the same vendor that we did. So there is potential for the next round. Apparently we have used all up the first $1 million. They're now going for second round of another $1 million for those that did not get submitted. There are a lot of counties that didn't submit anything at all. Some of them didn't know about it. They're not able to join on some of our director meetings across the state. And so that's coming down the line of additional. With this, that vendor contacts the person with the school They physically go on site, they walk the grounds, they take pictures of everything, they take measurements of everything. The school, if they had any paper maps prior to that, they could submit, and then they edit, bring them all up to date. There is no cost because it's a grant. The only cost that could be incurred later would be as if there's changes to the infrastructure and they want it remapped, then that would be up to the schools to pay for that portion of it. The actual map data itself is not owned by Barton County. It is not owned by the State 911 Board. It is actually owned by the Kansas Legislature. So the only access to that, obviously we get a copy, the school gets a copy, but beyond that, it goes back to the ownership of the Kansas Legislature for that. Therefore, there's nothing that I can disseminate. With that, the schools are able to make edits to the labeling of the mapping project. So if a room is labeled, Commissioner Rice's room, and he retires down the road and you want to relabel that, the school can go in and make that edit to the labeling. So all in all, it's an amazing project. I do think it would be beneficial to our responders here in Barton County. And if the second round is not fully utilized with K through 12 schools, there is a possibility that it could open up to other public entities such as the courthouse, community centers, things with potential to hold large quantities of people. But until the K through 12 schools are finalized, we won't know that yet. But so I'm just happy to announce that we got that. We got all 18 of our K through 12 schools here in Barton County. And the goal was that has to be completed and all funding submitted by June 30th. And as far as I know, they've all been walked already. So it's in those final stages. Just super happy about that. And I think it's going to be a huge benefit.
Appreciate all the work you did to do this. This was kind of a, maybe, I don't know how many hours you spent on it, but I know it took some time and checking out and how important it is for first responders to know which door to enter. While law enforcement or fire or first, any first responders have to know which door.
Just another step in protecting the children today.
Mr. Chair, I know one of my concerns was who was going to own the data, and you answered that because I was concerned if it would be used to enable an active shooter, that they would have a map of the building. Often the people that are shooters in schools are often familiar with the building already. So, and then most school buildings are a maze because like Ellenwoods, for example, has been added onto, and we have 2 separate second stories that don't connect, and there's 2 separate elevators. And if you don't have this mapping, it's very hard to direct anyone through any of these buildings. So if you are not familiar with them, it would be very difficult. So I think this is a great grant. I'm glad you went after it.
Why not?
Yes.
Thanks.
Yes, no. Okay. I guess there's no action needs to be taken. Just appreciate Dean for doing the groundwork. Okay, next we have information technology, and Mr. Hollingshead will give us details.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
For several years, the IT department's used antivirus on all of our computers and servers. In 2024, we switched from Malwarebytes to CrowdStrike as a recommendation from our insurance providers. So 2 weeks ago, about a month ago, we went out for bid to renew our antivirus again. And I met with you guys 2 weeks ago to discuss that. And you guys agreed that we could go ahead and proceed with our low bid to renew our antivirus, Center for Internet Security. So today I'm here to get your approval to ratify our purchase of CrowdStrike endpoint protection from Center for Internet Security. Questions, concerns? They were the low bid for our renewal this year. And so that's why we opted to proceed with them. The reason we're ratifying it is because when we changed vendors, we had to touch all 260 computers. And so we wanted to expedite that, get that process started sooner rather than later. So we didn't have computers unprotected with antivirus.
The antivirus is very important.
Yeah, it's critical.
We have discussion on this.
Just a wide disparity between those bids from 17,000 to 99.
Yeah, so we switched to Center for Internet Security because they are a nonprofit organization that's funded by Department of Homeland Security and CISA. And so they can purchase these licenses in larger quantities than even the private entity can do. So the benefit to going with them as well is they actually have a login into our account. So if I'm sleeping at night, they can remediate and shut some servers off or isolate computers if something happens. So it gives us an extra layer of security. So there's some other benefits that go along with it as well. So
Great, great.
Good.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
A motion?
Yes.
I move to ratify the award of the request for proposals, CrowdStrike Endpoint Protection, CIS Security, total cost $17,160 to be paid from the General Fund Information Technology Account, licensing line 001-24-5423.
I'll second that.
Okay, yeah, first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Next, we move to solid waste recycling grant. And Ms. Hamby will give us details. Solid waste
Good
grant.
morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
In the 2026 operating budget, the commission allocated $15,000 under solid waste for local recycling. Eligible to apply include any county department, agency, organization, recycling center, city, school district, or community college located in Barton County. To be eligible, the application must demonstrate a positive economic and environmental impact in the county, be consistent with Barton County Solid Waste Management Plan, benefit the county and its residents, and increased recycling. So today I'm just here to ask for your approval to announce the local 2026 recycling grant and to begin accepting applications.
Do we have any discussion?
I think this is a great grant. Hope you get a lot of applications.
I do too.
Okay, if not, I'm ready for a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I would move to let the 2026 solid waste recycling grant direct Ms. Hamby to coordinate the application process.
I'll second that.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Good, thank you. Okay, next we have facility management. Mr. Williams, the director, will present details.
Good morning, Commissioners. Carrier brand water source heat pump has failed at the courthouse. The unit, which is part of the individual heating and cooling systems that is utilized throughout the courthouse, is out of warranty. It's suggested that the new unit be purchased from Cruise Corporation for a total of $15,272. Given that the lead time for this unit is up to 19 weeks, an order has been placed and the commission is asked to ratify the purchase.
We have discussion. It's something that we need.
Longer wait, hotter it gets.
Right.
We did replace, it's in Judge Hip's office. We did take one off the fourth floor, put it in her office, so she has one temporarily in her office, so.
So will this heat pump go back in Judge Hip's office and move him back, or will you just put the one back?
One in Judge Hip's, the new one in Judge Hip's office, and move the other one back upstairs to fourth floors.
That's the whole idea, is to have heat and air.
Yep. Make everybody comfortable.
You bet. Okay, if not, I'm ready for a motion.
Chair,
Yes.
I move to ratify the purchase of a Carrier Model 50 PEC heat pump as defined in the cruise quote 90-601. The $15,272 cost is to be paid from the Capital Improvement Fund, Building and Fixed Equipment, General Line 071006305.
I'll second that.
First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Next, executive session. Do we have any reason for executive session? I see no reason. It's always a good thing. Ending business, the announcements following the close of the agenda meeting, the commission will consider the authorization of personnel changes for classified positions, signing any documentation approved during the agenda meeting, or signing any other documentation required for regular county business. Similar action may take place throughout the day. Although subject to change, the following appointments have been scheduled at 9:45 or following the close of the agenda, the planning session with media consultant, 10 a.m., a regular business discussion, Matt Potzner, County Administrator, 10:30, program update, Josh Beckman, County Engineer, Kirkman and Michael. 11 o'clock, program update, Chris Schartz, County Works Director. 11:15, program update, Jennifer Hamby, Solid Waste Director. 11:30, request for proposal, Wasabi Cloud Storage, Derek Hollinshead, IT Director. Moving on, the afternoon, 1 o'clock, request for proposals, contracted cleaning and custodial services, Mr. Williams, the Facility Director. At 1:30, program update, Jason Killian, Executive Director, Great Bend Economic Development. 2:15, discussion with Barton County Historical Society, Justin Engelman, Director.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
could we not find anything from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock?
You know what? I think we got other things to
Okay.
discuss that did probably be pretty close to 5 o'clock. So sure, let's not. I think our agenda's pretty full today. So yeah, we've got a good day. Get a lot of things done. The county edition, KVGB AM Thursday at 11:05 AM. Members of the Barton County Health Department are scheduled for March 26, 2026. And other business discussion items, and this is mainly for the commissioners. We have discussion.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I have a couple things. Tomorrow I'll attend the SDSI meeting in Garden City.
Yeah.
Been there for a while, so we'll catch up on what's going on there. And I thought this was interesting, and there's somebody in the crowd that would find it interesting too. Well, Adam Smith was definitely working last night. He was emailing me at 11:30 and midnight. But the reason that he was working so late is there's bills that are coming up today that'll be important. And now's the time when they start just throwing all sorts of things together and try to pass some things since they're limited on time. But I really had to read over what he sent and send him some information on it. But they're looking at doing it's kind of a mix of Senate Bill 1616 and 1603. But what they're looking at doing is the appraisers would still appraise properties as normal, wouldn't affect that at all. But then they would, instead of going back to year 2022, there's no going back. And they would look at, it's kind of like ag land, where ag land has the 8-year average where they drop off the high and the low. They would look at a 6-year. Now, these are just not concrete numbers. It could be 6, 3 years. Adam thought maybe 6 might be good, which I agree with him. I think 3 years would not probably be as effective. But they would come up with amount of years to go back and average your assessed value. So the appraised value stands, still appraised property. It wouldn't affect new construction. They would make sure that new construction would still happen. I like that because it wouldn't prohibit economic development as the other bill clearly would, with bringing people on with their market value. And so they'd work on things like that. They'd have to look at neighborhood revitalization, make sure it didn't mess up some of those programs as well. But then they want to, of course, put a cap on it too. And Adam, if he could get them to look at 10%, that would probably, for counties like ours and Kelly Delory's, like her counties that she sees, the 10% would probably be all right, because if you go back over 6 years, it would probably fall in that range somewhere, but they would cap it so that it couldn't go up over that, which would help in areas that have the large increases. But it would also help us with I know a lot of people don't ever believe me when I tell them, but I remember when values were going down 20 and 30% a year, when the savings and loans crashed, we couldn't lower values enough. Well, our commissioners were have on the other end of trying to make budgets work. And so it would smooth out if, Lord forbid, those kind of days would come back and to us. But the more I think about it, the more I read about it, and I let Adam know kind of the pros and cons. But I kind of like it because it would smooth things out for taxpayers. And as commission, for us trying to provide services to constituents, it would help us as well. It wouldn't give us the shocks that the loss that the other bills would have. The other thing is that they looked at is, and I did message him and let him know that I didn't think this bill was good, but Senate Bill 329 would require the county appraisers and us and our taxpayers would have to pay for it. We know who's paying for it. Would require anytime someone appeals their residential property onto the Board of Tax Appeals, the county would have to have a fee appraisal done. Well, in some of the larger counties, and Kelly can tell you that right now the Board of Tax Appeals is overwhelmed with some of those hearings and they're behind and they're trying to get caught up. Well, that would just slow it down even more because the counties would have to wait. There's not that many fee appraisers around the state.
Fee appraisers, they're back to 6 months. This would be back every
Yeah.
even more.
I don't see that being possible. And also I don't like it because if you appeal your value, other taxpayers shouldn't have to pay for your appraisal. And that's where that fee goes in and fee appraisals aren't cheap.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I mean, that'd be huge.
so I let Adam know that we definitely didn't like that bill at all. And it's not because, and if you've ever looked at a residential appraisal that comes out of any appraiser's office, they're good. They have the comps. They go, and when there isn't any comps, they rely on the cost approach where the depreciation comes from the sales. So their appraisals are good. So hopefully that one won't go anywhere. There wasn't any, no one testified, Adam said, for the bill. So hopefully that will be good. And we didn't reach out against it because we didn't even know that it was still going. So I can tell you from his emails last night that they're very, very busy in Topeka. So it reminded me that we can't back off right now. We need to pay attention to what's going on. So that's all I had.
Thank you for keeping up on state news and the information that comes out of Topeka. So,
Mr. Chair, I know this is about 10 days late, but I just wanted to congratulate the Central Plains Oilers ladies and men's team for their state run, and then also the Ellenwood Eagles second place finish in state basketball. I think basketball is a very long season, and these kids put a lot into their season. So to get to even the state level is quite an accomplishment. So proud of every one of those kiddos. Worked hard. Yep.
Even though I didn't get to see their last game, I heard it, and boy, even listening to it on the radio, it was good.
It's the
I don't imagine being there.
fighter.
You guys, no, very proud of those ladies. They, with volleyball and basketball, they're just amazing. Hopefully we can have them back to recognize them. Second place at a state is huge.
any other thing, anything else to discuss? I guess if you're tuned in later, if you see we're wearing some colorful shirts, it's because it's first meeting in spring. So that's the reason for that. Okay, next, citizens organization may present requests or proposals for initial consideration. I see none. Okay, the commissioners are available to the public on Tuesdays during the regular business hours. One or more commissioners may be present in the commission chambers conducting county business throughout the day on Tuesdays. The commissioners may individually schedule personal appointments related to county business at their discretion. The next regular meeting will be at 9 a.m. Tuesday, March 31st, 2026. And that concludes your meeting. Can I get a motion?
So move.
Second.
First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion, meeting adjourned.